first to today's big news, and last night Ghislaine Maxwell was sentenced to 20 years in prison for aiding Jeffrey Epstein in the abuse of young girls. Now, some of the survivors who testified against her were there for the sentencing, with one, Annie Farmer, saying she hoped the trial will empower other victims of sexual abuse to seek their own justice. Do you think that was a fair result, Katie?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things here. I think there's a bigger picture, and that certainly at this level of a paedophile ring, there were other people involved. So, you know, is she a scapegoat and have other people escape this level of justice? This happened in America, this sentencing, and 20 years in this country would be seen as a very severe sentence and justice. You know, I can only compare it with the Rochdale scandal here in the UK, where very similar charges of trafficking, inciting sex with a child, and we see the perpetrators going to prison and coming out after 2 years and still being in the same radius as where the victims are shopping, in the same supermarkets. So, you know, those victims might watch this and wish that they'd have had that kind of justice here, but, you know, that won't happen under our laws.
I suppose that could be that's maybe a little bit the difference between the American and the UK justice systems. But do you also feel maybe that because she's a woman, you know, quite rightly, she's been found guilty, she has to go to prison. But do you feel that we look more harshly on women in these sort of cases?
Well, certainly I have looked at her harshly because I couldn't understand it. In the main, women are seen as nurturers, you know, they have babies, they are protecting children. And I could never understand why a woman of her, because she wasn't a silly woman in that case. Well, she might have been silly in certain areas. But why she would procure young girls, you know, a lot of whom were only maybe 13, 14, why she would do that just to feed her boyfriend's sexual appetite or to pleasure him as such. I could never understand that. And I also could never understand why, up until now, she's never actually apologised or addressed, we'll call them victims for the moment, but anyway, these girls never apologised. And those who were in the court over the last couple of days said that what she did say in court was very hollow. But there's this one little statement...
Yeah, she still hasn't really... She sort of said, I feel empathy for you, but the judge said she hasn't really taken responsibility.
But what one of the girls said to her, looked at her apparently, and just said, look, you have used your femininity and it's just a veneer of safety that you portrayed to us. And I think we all could actually see what she did.
But the difficult thing that I'm going to say, and I know it won't be popular, is that it's just a shame that he took his life and that he couldn't be held accountable for his actions. You know, Ghislaine has said that, you know, or alluded to the fact that there was some coercive abuse going on within their relationship. It clearly wasn't a healthy relationship. Not that I'm excusing her behaviour in any way, but it's just... For me, it's such a travesty that, you know, women were the victims and now a woman is serving the time when actually it was the man's actions and it was the man's decisions that made this all happen.
Then you can't be held responsible if somebody has decided to commit suicide.
Yeah, I understand that. It just annoys me.
I mean, it's sort of a mirror of Fred and Rose West because he committed suicide. And the thing I always found about Rose West was that a lot of those hitchhikers got in the car because they saw a woman. And they trusted her.
Yes.
But, you know, going back to Ghislaine Maxwell, so Virginia Giuffre, who's sort of been centre of this for a very long time, she wasn't actually at the court, but her comment, she said to Ghislaine Maxwell about her and Jeffrey Epstein, together you damaged me physically, mentally, sexually and emotionally. I would never have met Jeffrey Epstein if it's not for you. For me and for so many others, you opened the door to hell.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yes. Well, hopefully this will be a deterrent.
Yeah.
An example.
Yeah.
OK, and there are helplines available on our website if you've been affected by anything that we've talked about.